Welcome, sacred woman. We are coming to you from the Crystalline Ascension Temple to speak and share with you, the ascending and evolving woman entrepreneur, about the Ascension Waves for this week, which is all about the evolution of your ego consciousness. So I'm just going to hand it over right to Eva today.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so today, as I was tuning in, what shares, what do I need to share today? Who needs to hear what? And the words were, do not underestimate yourself. And that was really powerfully, boldly whispered to me. So we will be continuing basically from our last video where Alicia opened up this subject quite powerfully. Right? Ego is definitely a hot topic right now. So it makes sense that more people are tuning into the ego and many synchronicities are appearing, right? In the posts and media and just everywhere in our whole personal evolution. So I have a quote here. Quote, ego is not a linear process. It is a complex and multidimensional process that varies factors such as life experiences, culture, society norms, and personal beliefs and values that can influence, end of quote. And I really tuned into that. And I feel that ego plays a major role, as we all know, in all areas of our lives. And sometimes it does serve us, right, where we're in a situation where we have to have that, fight and flight mode, but that's not always our case, right? And I think Alicia probably shares this thought since we're up leveling, evolving, ascending, shifting into new versions of ourselves, that I think it's becoming a natural flow to support the evolution of our ego, right? We hear that as an entrepreneur, as a leader, it's so important to know thyself in a deeper, more empowering, powerful way. Well, ego is a part of ourselves, right? Like our human vessel. Some of us study the Akashic records, some of us study the shambolic wisdom books, and everything is in motion. It's always shifting. So it makes total sense that our egos may be craving for the same things. For many of us, ego has been stagnant. And I know we know that feeling too, right? Where we have to actually take personal responsibility upon that and shift that. So as we step into our soul's desired way, we go through various growth spurts of shifting identities, self-awareness expands. We actually step into more personal responsibility. We're actually asking for more personal responsibility. We're asking to how we could self-lead ourselves. And there are so many that are just people, the souls are just expanding exponentially. So it makes sense to me, this is my opinion, when we, the multidimensional woman that we are, continuously putting our time and energy into our inner work because we want a more delicious life on this planet. We want to help souls. We want to grow. We want to evolve with and on this planet. And we begin and we turn to look at how the ego has been the driving force. So because we are growing in our self-responsibility, I feel creating a relationship with ego is super crucial right now. This is where it came in. We do not underestimate the ego, as it will do its best to show up as the version it knows to default you back into the comfort or perhaps only instant gratification is acknowledged, right? It may amp up the role of keeping you safe and comfortable, regardless if you claim that repetitive self-programming that is uncomfortable, i.e., for me, I'm going to show my own where ego really comes up is where overwhelm, frustration, being self-critical, right? It really actually constricts you and it brings you back, I feel sometimes to the beginning. And sometimes you get so tired of going back to the beginning that you actually have to confront what's going on. And that's a part of your ego that you need to really confront. So ego shows up constantly in so many different areas of our lives, especially I feel when your soul is up leveling. So example, you're ready to go into more leadership muscles, emotional intelligence, decision making. Your wise self is ready to create with you to lead you on a new path, and your ego is like now in the way. I'm sticking to you like glue. And at a time it comes through time and space, you have grown your self-awareness that you have shifted your thoughts and beliefs, and you see yourself as the magnificent CEO woman that you are, and that you're now ready to navigate your life. And you want to, don't underestimate, is what they're saying in this way, don't underestimate your capacity and your ability to be the director of your ego, right? To create that dynamic dance is what was being shown to me between the new up-leveled version of you, to bring that old ego into your rhythm, bring it into your dance, so that that ego begins to acclimate to how to support you and to hold space for you. Because now you know who you are, right? You know this version of you, and you could address the ego and communicate your needs and boundaries far more effectively than as your old version of yourself. So with this new version of you, where do you feel that you need to turn and face ego and say, stop, it's not working for me anymore. This is what I want. And that version of you, ego, is outgrown. You're outdated. It's time for newness, and really begin to bring your self-love, your self-nurturing to ego, because after all, it has been fulfilling the role of keeping you safe, right? And the more solid we become as we build our new identities, we build those muscles. And if you're listening to this, there's no doubt that you are interested in your growth, right? Because you wouldn't be here listening to this if you weren't interested in your own self growth. So take the time as you're growing and evolving to really upgrade your ego, because the more equipped you are and the better you can navigate yourself in the ego and reap the outcome and the blessed rewards of your soul that you have wanted for so long, craved for so long, and really be with that ego to serve you, right? Allow it to support you. So again, do not underestimate yourself as the magical soul that you are. At the same time, do not underestimate the power of your ego. So where can you like actually turn and face your ego and bring that harmony together as the dance, so that you can create and fulfill your soul fulfillment in this lifetime? So I'm going to hand it over to Alicia now.
Very beautiful. Lots have had come through during you were speaking, but I would have to say, yes, definitely building that relationship with the ego has been a number one priority with us recently, in regards to really acknowledging and witnessing the ego in a different light, rather than the ego leading you. You are now leading the ego to a whole new world for the ego to experience, and have your ego come and journey along for the evolution of your ego, to allow your ego self, that ego consciousness, to experience a whole new version of you, a whole new world, and really growing the capacity and the peace and the safety within the ego consciousness as you up level, as you ascend, as you evolve too. But now you're on the journey together rather than butting heads or fighting each other. You're on this beautiful unified journey together. So what I was, and even before coming on to speak today, it was like acknowledging my ego. As the ego dropped in thoughts and feelings, I was, step into that leadership role or that coaching or that mentoring role for my ego, to let her know that we're going to be doing a call, we're going to be going live, we're going to be sharing, and just all sorts of different things. But it's just a new relationship. And in the physical body, it feels so different when we had that conversation, or when we're building that relationship with ego on that perspective. So it definitely feels more peaceful. It feels more relaxed, more joyful to actually step into a higher consciousness with ego by your side, with ego witnessing your growth and your evolution, to know that, you can create peace this way. But when I was tuning into the Ascension Waves for the woman entrepreneur, what I was seeing was a lot of different written posts, written content coming into the field, and it was an invitation to step into your higher consciousness, your pure consciousness, your goddess self, your version of yourself, and really look at your content creational post. And you may want to ask yourself, if you are creating your content from your ego self to another one's ego, Or it could be from your goddess self to the ego of others. Or is it really goddess to goddess? So, really looking at your post and asking if you are feeding others' ego, or are you sparking the goddess within? This is a really important to what I had saw here within it was sort of like seeing the content creation, all these wording, all these frequencies, all these spells and illusions to kind of act. It's almost like a cover to, yes, oh yes, I am speaking to the goddess within. But underneath that, are you still speaking to the ego, or is it vice versa? On the outside, are you still speaking to the ego, but trying to speak to the goddess self within on your post? Or is it the other way around? Just really coming into stepping more into truth into your post to really speak from goddess to goddess. The women entrepreneurs are here to lead the way in a new way of content creation. It's something we haven't seen before. And you can see it online where I guess you could say the way that we've always posted, or the way others have always posted, or the way that you are always posting is collapsing. It's changing. It's evolving. It's ascending. It's no longer possibly working, because as more goddesses come on board, their unity consciousness, their Christ consciousness, their pure consciousness, those posts, those content creational posts that you have right now will not serve them. It will not be seen anymore, because the goddess within can see past those illusions. And, if the goddess self is leading, yes, your content creational posts won't serve that goddess anymore. However, your work is for the goddess. Your creations are for the goddess. So having your content creation come into alignment now with what you're really here to serve, who you're really here to serve, what you're truly to create in this world, to weave in this world, that legacy that you want to weave in this world. That is what the invitation is for this week. So another invitation is, one of the most powerful ways of dancing with the ego is through one of our offerings called Goddess Arise. And this is where we take you through a journey of not an ego death per se, but an evolution of your ego consciousness, where you're creating peace with your pure consciousness. It's ego consciousness meet pure consciousness, or you may want to call that your goddess consciousness, your Christ consciousness, your unity consciousness. There's just so many names being thrown out there, but whatever serves you or whatever feels for your truth. But bringing this all into a unified space where your inner goddess is now leading, simultaneously witnessing, acknowledging the ego on a whole new level, with a whole new perspective, in a whole new light, so that you are able to hold more of your unity consciousness within, that really allows you to become that new luminary leader of the ascending world, or what others call new earth. So there's a whole bunch of different names for this beautiful ascension, or this beautiful expansion of frequencies of consciousness that are coming on board. So the invitation is to really step into that new leadership now, that sovereign sacred leadership now. Yeah, so that was my message for today's, or this week's Ascension Waves.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh no, it was beautiful as you were talking, at a beautiful description, and I was really I wasn't even tuning in. It was being shown to me as us women entrepreneurs really step up, and we really take that self-awareness and that self-identity and really support the ego now and turn and face it. I saw like the part of the Akashic record books, and they went and they tied it up with a bow. It's almost like it's done. Time to move forward. Time to move forward in the new way that we're going to be using the ego, right? Because we sort of do use the ego, whichever way we decide to use the ego, right?
Well, I think what the word, rather than using, it's a collaboration now. We're co-creating with the ego. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful dance. So I just loved that image when they showed it to me, and I went, oh, thank you. And thank you to everybody who was part of that collective, right?
Yes.
That is sending it out to the collective waves that this is actually happening for us.
Yes. As the Creatrix being. Yes, definitely. Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us. Comment below or anything. We'll come back around to any of the comments, and much love until next time. Bye for now.
Bye for now.